illusions in his mind, no resistances in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work. 51. Every being in the universe is an expression of Tao. It springs into existence, unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body, lets circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, knows them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. 52. In the beginning was the Tao. All things issue from it. All things return to it. To find the origin, trace back the manifestations. When you recognize the children and find the mother, you will be free of sorrow. If you close your mind in judgments and traffic with desires, your heart will be troubled. If you keep your mind from judging and aren't led by the senses, your heart will find peace. Seeing into darkness is clarity. Knowing how to yield is strength. Use your own light and return to the source of light. This is called practicing eternity.
Never had one lesson.
53. The great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper, while farmers lose their land. When government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures. When the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible, while the poor have nowhere to turn. All this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao. 54. Whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. Whoever embraces the Tao will not slip away. Her name will be held in honor from generation to generation. Let the Tao be present in your life, and you will become genuine. Let it be present in your family, and your family will flourish. Let it be present in your country, and your country will be an example to all countries in the world. Let it be present in the universe, and the universe will sing. How do I know this is true? By looking inside myself. 55. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female. Yet its penis can see so intense is its vital power. Its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The Master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results. Thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed. Thus his spirit never grows old. 56. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth. Block off your senses. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can't be approached or withdrawn from, benefited or harmed, honored or brought into disgrace. It gives itself up continually. That is why it endures. 57. If you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the Master says, I let go of the law, and people become honest. I let go of economics, and people become prosperous. I let go of religion, and people become serene. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. 58. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. Try to make people happy, and you lay the groundwork for misery. Try to make people moral, and you lay the groundwork for vice. Thus the Master is content to serve as an example, and not to impose her will. She is pointed, but doesn't pierce. Straightforward, but supple. Radiant, but easy on the eyes. 59. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas. Tolerant like the sky, all-pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view, and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him. Because he has let go, he can care for the people's welfare, as a mother cares for her child. 60. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Center your country in the Tao, and evil will have no power. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. 61. When a country obtains great power, it becomes like the sea. All streams run downward into it. The more powerful it grows, the greater the need for humility. Humility means trusting the Tao, thus never needing to be defensive. A great nation is like a great man. When he makes a mistake, he realizes it. Having realized it, he admits it. Having admitted it, he corrects it. He considers those who point out his faults as his most benevolent teachers. He thinks of his enemy as the shadow that he himself casts. If a nation is centered in the Tao, if it nourishes its own people and doesn't meddle in the affairs of others, it will be a light to all nations of the world. 62. The Tao is the center of the universe, the good man's treasure, the bad man's refuge. Honors can be bought with fine words. Respect can be won with good deeds. But the Tao is beyond all value, and no one can achieve it. Thus, when a new leader is chosen, don't offer to help him with your wealth or your expertise. Offer instead to teach him about the Tao. Why did the ancient masters esteem the Tao? Because being one with the Tao, when you seek, you find. And when you make a mistake, you are forgiven. That is why everybody loves it. 63. Act without doing. Work without effort. Think of them all as large, and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it is still easy. Accomplish the great task by a series of small acts. The master never reaches for the great. Thus she achieves greatness. Runs into a difficulty. She stops and gives herself to it. She doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus, problems are no problem for her. 64.
Go back to Tesla.
What is
High
rooted,
five, clown. Communism and Democrats suck dick.
what is recent,
Show her 60 billion
is
today. Go
easy
back
to
to
correct.
test smoking on trains.
What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Prevent trouble before it arises. Put things in order before they exist. A giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. Therefore, the master takes action by letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing, thus has nothing to lose. What he desires is non-desire. What he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. Ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think that they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. If you want to learn how to govern, avoid being clever or rich. The simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature. "66. All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them. The master is above the people, and no one feels oppressed. She goes ahead of the people, and no one feels manipulated. The whole world is grateful to her, because she competes with no one. No one can compete with her." 67. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty, but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. 68. The best athlete wants his opponent at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non-competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in the spirit of play. In this, they are like children, and in harmony with the Tao. 69. The generals have a saying: rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. There's no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus, you destroy your 3 treasures and become an enemy yourself. When 2 great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield. 70. My teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Yet your intellect will never grasp them, and if you try to practice them, you'll fail. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, Look inside your heart. 71. Not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming to know is a disease. First realize that you are sick. Then you can move toward health. The master is her own physician. She is herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. 72. When they lose their sense of awe, they turn to religion. When they no longer trust themselves, they begin to depend upon authority. Therefore, the master steps back so that people won't be confused. He teaches without a teaching, so that people comes without competing, answers without speaking a word, arrives without being summoned, accomplishes without a plan. Its net covers the whole universe, and though its meshes are wide, it doesn't let a thing slip through. 74. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are that you'll cut your hand. 75. When taxes are too high, people go hungry. When the government is too intrusive, people lose their spirit. Act for the people's benefit. Trust them. Leave them alone. 76. Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. 77. As it acts in the world, the Tao is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward. The bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. Those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the Tao. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else. 78. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart, because he has given up helping. He is people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. 79. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there's no end to the blame. Therefore, the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. 80. If a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants will be content. They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time inventing labor-saving machines. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it. 81. True words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true.
Oh.
Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing, by not dominating. The master leads. Tao Te Ching can be translated as the book of the imminence of the way, or the book of the way and of how it manifests itself in the world, or simply the book of the way. Since it is already well known by its Chinese title, I have let that stand. About Lao Tzu, its author, there's practically nothing to be said. He may have been an older contemporary of Confucius, 551 to 479 BCE. He may have held the position of archive keeper in one of the petty kingdoms of the time. But all the information that has come down to us is highly suspect. Even the meaning of his name is uncertain. The most likely interpretations, the old master, or more picturesquely, the old boy. Like an Iroquois woodsman, he left no traces. All he left us is his book, the classic manual on the art of living, written in a style of gem-like lucidity, radiant with humor and grace, and large-heartedness and deep wisdom, one of the wonders of the world. People usually think of Lao Tzu as a hermit, a dropout from society, dwelling serenely in some mountain hut, unvisited except perhaps by the occasional traveler arriving from a 60s joke to ask, what is the meaning of life? But it's clear from his teachings that he deeply cared about society, if society means the welfare of one's fellow human beings. His book is, among other things, a treatise on the art of government, whether of a country or of a child. The misperception may arise from his insistence on wei wu wei, literally, doing, not doing, which has been seen as passivity. Nothing could be further from the truth. A good athlete can enter a state of body awareness in which the right stroke or the right movement happens by itself, effortlessly, without any interference of the conscious will. This is a paradigm for non-action, the purest and most effective form of action. The game plays the game. The poem writes the poem. We can't tell the dancer from the dance. Less and less do you need to force things, until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone.
This is one of my favorite stories.
Nothing is done because the doer has wholeheartedly vanished into the deed. The fuel has been completely transformed.
I went to a show that was the same format. It wasn't the Moth or Risk, but it was like a local ragtag production in Chicago. It was the art of storytelling. There were 5 speakers that were going to tell stories. The twist was that, and I've told this a bunch of times on Clubhouse, so if you've heard this story, I apologize, but the twist was that everyone was naked. The speakers, the storytellers are 100% naked on stage, telling their story, and not only that, the audience is 100% naked. Everyone is required to be 100% naked.
I'm Iran and speak you.
Nice to hear from you.
Iran is very bad because it's war and US is worrying that and biggest and very powerful.
That's how I like Parent Trap. Y'all seen that movie? That's my old shit. Y'all funny as hell, man. Man, y'all been up all night, bro. What the hell?
Into flame. This nothing is in fact everything. It happens when we trust the intelligence of the universe in the same way that an athlete or a dancer trusts the superior intelligence of the body. Hence Lao Tzu's emphasis on softness. Softness means the opposite of rigidity and is synonymous with suppleness, adaptability, endurance. Anyone who has seen a Tai Chi or Aikido master doing not doing will know how powerful this softness is. Lao Tzu's central figure is a man or woman whose life is in perfect harmony with the way things are. This is not an idea, it is a reality. I have seen it. The master has mastered nature, not in the sense of conquering it, but of becoming it. In surrendering to the Tao, in giving up all concepts, judgments, and desires, her mind has grown naturally compassionate. She finds, deep in her own experience, the central truths of the art of living, which are paradoxical only on the surface. That the more truly solitary we are, the more compassionate we can be. The more we let go of what we love, the more present our love becomes. The clearer our insight into what is beyond good and evil, the more we can embody the good. Until finally she is able to say, in all humility, I am the Tao, the truth, the life. The teaching of the Tao Te Ching is moral in the deep. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. The listener will notice that in the many passages where Lao Tzu describes the master, I've used the pronoun she at least as often as he. The Chinese language doesn't make this kind of distinction. In English we have to choose. But since we are all potentially the master, since the master is, essentially, us, I felt it would be untrue to present a male archetype, as other versions have ironically done. Ironically, because of all the great world religions, the teaching of Lao Tzu is by far the most female. Of course, you should feel free throughout the recording to substitute he for she, or vice versa. As to method, I worked from Paul Karas's literal version, which provides English equivalents, often very quaint ones, alongside each of the Chinese ideograms. I consulted dozens of translations into English, German, and French. But the most essential preparation for my work was a 14 years long course of Zen training, which brought me face to face with Lao Tzu and his true disciples and heirs, the early Chinese Zen masters. With great poetry, the freest translation is sometimes the most faithful. We must try its effect as an English poem, Dr. Johnson said. That is the way to judge of the merit of a translation. I have often been fairly literal, or as literal as one can be with such a subtle, kaleidoscopic book as the Tao Te Ching. But I have also paraphrased, expanded, contracted, interpreted, worked with the text, played with it, until it became embodied in a language that felt genuine to me. If I haven't always translated Lao Tzu's words, my intention has always been to translate his mind. Describing the indescribable, teaching the unteachable, pointing the way to the way. What does Lao Tzu think he is doing here? It can't be done. No way. Hence, poetry poet and stand-up comedian wrote, "He who talks doesn't know, he who knows doesn't talk." That is what Lao Tzu told us in a book of 5,000 words. If he was the one who knew, how could he have been such a blabbermouth? That's the problem with spiritual teachers. They have to be blabbermouths. But their words are, in a traditional Buddhist metaphor, fingers pointing at the moon. You watch the finger, you can't see the moon. How meticulous the great masters had to be. A monk asked Matsu, "Why do you teach mind is Buddha?" Matsu said, "To stop a baby from crying." The monk said, "When the crying has stopped, what then?" Matsu said, "Then I teach, not mind, not Buddha." The monk said, "How about someone who isn't attached to either?" Matsu said, "I would tell him, not beings." The monk said, "And what if you met a man unattached to all things? What would you tell him?" Matsu said, "I would just let him experience the great Tao." In fact, the truth is right before our eyes, right under our noses. So simple that every child understands it. And yet, as Bante said, the farther you
Pastor Kyle says something, he debunks it, right? Like, oh, Pastor Kyle loves like the homeless. We're a hospital. Like, he debunks that, right? Like, he debunks so much shit unwittingly. That's why he's so fucking fantastic. If this is supposed to be fucking like what? You got called by God. Where's Johnny Haas? Somebody ping Johnny Haas, man. He needs to fucking be here. Johnny Haas was the one said it too, right? Talked about callings. Johnny was very vocal about criticizing John about this calling bullshit, right? And you want to say that, no, this is a real calling from God. Fools for Christ. You haven't done it in a week. Food for Christ. You're not doing that fucking shit either. We're actually to believe this shit from the person who says, if God asked me if God told me to jump, I would say how high. Meanwhile, you're sitting on your fucking ass, just playing Zynga poker for a fucking week straight, ignoring 2 of your callings from God. Are you a fucking joke? Are you fucking kidding me? That's insulting to you for you to try and say that with a straight face. It's so obviously not the fucking case, right? Are you fucking kidding me? We're supposed to believe that you think truly that this is a calling from God, and you're fucking playing Zynga? Fuck out of here. Fucking joke.
For those just joining, you don't have to raise your hand, you just click that, and you can participate in discussions.
Truly a fucking joke. Can I invite Johnny Haas? Let me see if I can invite Johnny. I don't know.
I'm not as familiar with some of the clubhouse stuff, not being so long since I've done it.
If you are following each other, you can invite them.
James has top 1% karma, so he's got this clubhouse app down. We probably wouldn't be able to explain that.
Where would I do that? Oh, share maybe?
Yeah, you click the little invite. Yeah.
Ping someone into the room.
Hello?
Hello, Alexander.
Why are you so upset about how the way that John spends his time on this earth? It's almost like, you're projecting onto him and you're just not letting him be. Why do you have such high standards for him?
I don't. That was easy. Any other questions?
Why are you gay?
Yeah, I don't have high standards for John. I actually, I mean, if he wants to just like be homeless and like barbecuing with his friends perpetually, that's fine. But like, don't tell us that, you know, you're completely happy with how things are going, couldn't be better, you're having the time of your life, you know, that you've been healed by God of your heart condition. Meanwhile, you're in hypertensive crisis, that you're, yes, in a homeless shelter, but you're just there for investigative journalism. Don't tell us, like, you know, that you're a successful businessman when you're a fucking failed business. Don't tell us you're married when you're not married at all. Don't tell us that, you know, you're a slave to righteousness when you're a fucking kleptomaniac. You know, don't tell us that you're fucking, you know, a slave to righteousness when you've done like some of the things that John Lee has done. Are you getting the fucking picture? You think I give a fuck about like what he's doing as like an occupation, motherfucker? You think I give a fuck? You think that like I'm mad because John Lee hasn't lived up to his full potential or some shit, motherfucker? Is that what you think? I don't give a fuck what he's doing, like, you know, with his occupation or where he's living or that bullshit. He is bullshitting us, lying perpetually. He's given great, not good, great advice by scores of people. And he tells them they're fucking dumbasses. And instead, he's gonna fucking follow God and rely on God. Well, how did relying on God work out for his blood pressure? Shit. Do you think God healed him, motherfucker?
I just want to quote John Lee and say, Tom, you're getting very hostile, and I'm trying to, like, you know, maintain some, like, decorum and peace on the stage right here now. So, could you, like, chill out?
Oh, there's no decorum that needs to change. I mean, you were able to freely speak. You weren't even interrupted. The fact that I, like, have a raised voice is, like, shouldn't matter at all, really. There's no discourse that's prevented by this. Maybe you had a misconception, you know, from the beginning and thought that I was, like, mad at John Lee for not, like, fulfilling his full potential or some shit.
Well, do you have any, like, personal regret about investing so much of your own personal life into consuming John Lee content?
No.
You said no awfully quick. You sure you don't want to think about it?
No.
Personal regret about
I
investing
mean,
so much of your
like,
personal
any
life?
type of regret that I would have would just be like, you know, maybe I spend a lot of time, you know, like binge watching a show, and I might like reflect on it and be like, you know, that time could have been better spent more productive. But I mean, like, you know, shoulder shrug. I love John Lee content. It's very entertaining. They'd be like saying, "Hey, do you regret all the time that you spent on Clubhouse just talking about bullshit?" Do you?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah, motherfucker. Who else do they fucking? It's just me and you in here. Who the fuck else would I be talking to?
Oh, because I usually don't actually just engage in meaningless conversation here, unlike yourself.
Well, is this meaningful?
No, this is a show about a show which everybody finds pathetic. And so your show is pathetic by default because your show is about
Yeah,
a
and you're
pathetic
engaging
show.
in it. Is this meaningful? meaningful conversation?
No, I'm just here to defend.
There you go. Do you regret it? Do you regret this participating?
Hello?
Yeah.
What was your
Do you
question?
regret participating in this conversation, which you think is pathetic and meaningless?
Let me think about it. I'll get back to you in about 30 seconds. Please hold.
Yeah, anybody else want to say something? Look, guys, we are literally doing a eulogy for Fools for Christ Ministries and Food for Christ Ministries. Two fucking ministries, not just any ministry, right? Not ordained by or decreed by a person, just a flesh and fucking blood, right? Ordained and decreed by the one and only true God, creator of the universe, the Christian God himself, Yahweh. And when fucking Zynga Poker is taking a priority over the decrees by the one and true God, well then guess what? That ministry is fucking dead.
Is that a fact or is that an opinion?
Well, if you're called by God to do A, and A is something God wants you to do, and you're actively avoiding doing A, and it's something that God's called you to do, you believe God's the creator of the universe, talk about how much you love God, and then you don't do it, yeah, it seems like he's being very factual.
Well, I, for one, reject both of your analyses, and I think that John Lee is the embodiment of Jesus Christ. And you are such high standard people that you don't understand. Sometimes Jesus just wants to take a break and play a little Zynga poker and have a barbecue with his friends and not be here ministering to the depressed clubhouse flock like yourselves every day.
That's Jesus. Jesus decided to take a break and not feed 5,000, and he just wanted to, have a barbecue with his friends. I'm glad for your expert analysis. Are you a Christian or like an atheist? Like, what's the deal?
I'm just a member of the flock of John Lee, and I don't think it's important for you to know my designation or status. I think what's important is that we actually understand that it's okay to go play Zynga poker and have a good time with your friends and not always minister to the highly depressed, neurotic people on here who can't stop talking all the time. Because I practice peace and prayer and meditation. And when I hear people here that just can't stop opinionating and talking all the time, they really need to pick up, a book and just read a book, or go to the gym, or walk through the park and maybe play some Zynga poker and barbecue with your buddies.
Well, I think right now you're practicing what is known as the art of verbal masturbation. But this is not about you.
Of course, it's not about me.
It's not okay. I don't know why you're saying it's okay to not fucking do what you're commanded to by God. I mean, that's definitionally under Christianity not okay. Sin is actually the opposition to what God prescribes or says. It's literally what he's doing. God's telling him to do this and he's not doing it. That's literally sinful.
Well, I've come to the conclusion that God must be infinite grace because sin abounds so much. There must be an infinite amount of grace.
Can I move this fucking idiot down?
You click on a name. I don't think you can move him down. You'd have to move him out of the room.
That's fine. Just
Okay,
this.
you're
I don't see that option. I don't see that option.
Are you emotionally disturbed? You don't.
The more you're into it, the deeper it is. Where is the way to the way?
We got him, Dennis!
For
We
complex
got him again!
drastic measures are needed. Lao Tzu's book was written as a response out of grandmotherly kindness. According to the oldest biography, Lao Tzu lived for a long time in the country of Chu, but seeing its decline, he departed. When he reached the frontier, the guard said, "Since you were going away, sir, could you write a book to teach me the art of living?" Thereupon, Lao Tzu wrote his book about the Tao and departed. This is legend, but it is an accurate description of the way in which true teaching happens. He who knows doesn't talk, but words are no hindrance for him. He uses them as he would use gardening tools. When someone asks, he answers. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness. The gateway to all understanding. 2. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. 3. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. Overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. Practice not doing, and everything will fall into place. 4. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. 5. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like a bellows. It is empty, yet infinitely capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. Hold on to the center. 6. The Tao is called the Great Mother. Empty, yet inexhaustible, it gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you.
Clip from
You can
last
use it
Sunday
any way you want.
at John's church, directly from the live stream.
And if he, let's say hypothetically he was healed, a day was all that God put your blood pressure back to normal. doesn't seem like a very loving
Setting
action.
assumption.
It seems like kind of a jerk move. Like I'm gonna take this away for just today, and tomorrow you're gonna be right back in it.
It's not even clear that it was like he was not hypertensive like at any point. And plus, a lot of those medications, look, it's not the case that like he was on like I think he said 5 different blood pressure medications, and so it's not like always the case with a medication that you don't take the next day that it's like all the effects are like not there, right? Some of them it might take weeks for it to sort of like fully evacuate your system. John thinks that like after he got past the sort of like initial withdrawal symptoms like that were immediate, that like he was like over, that was it, he was over and healed, right? This is fucking stupid.
I mean, the medications that John was taking, just taking like what, one dose of the medication, seems to have lasted longer than the healing that he got from God.
This is the world famous Tom Rabbit trying to roast John Lee on a Friday afternoon. He kicked me from the room.
Dumb bullshit.
Because he's so prideful. He got rid of his insurance and like his ability to get money for food. And he did this not out of like depending on God, but out of pride. And now he can't get like medical treatment that he wants, and now he's worried a bit about money that he has. Pride comes before a fall, and it seems like that's led to the fall when he's calling from God because of his pride and rejecting these social contracts that we have and that Christians have established and non-Christians have established in his state to help poor people and people in need. And he's rejected that out of that, not from the government stance.
Welcome, Johnny Hoss.
Thank you, Mr. Coletta.
God, thank God, Johnny. Wow. Thank God you're here.
A eulogy for fools of Christ. Well, I don't know if I can participate in a eulogy. That's usually customary to consider to be some sort of tribute or memorial, but
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean?
Not all the time though.
Right. You know, it's always funny to me, looking back. You know, John is going to make Christianity look goofy. I would rather him go back to being in your room, Tom, on Discord and things like that. At least it was more entertaining that way, the way he was making Christianity look goofy. But here's the funny thing about this. If God asked him to molest children, would he do it? Yes, of course. Of course I would do that, says John Lee. But if God asks him to devote 1 hour to spread the gospel on Clubhouse, I'm tied up. I've got too many other
I'm
things
busy.
to do. I'm busy.
I'm up to X trillion dollars on Zynga. I can't do it, right?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, so are you aware that John Lee has not, he's not done his For Christ room at all this week?
I had noticed he hasn't been around for several days, yes.
Yeah. And so, if you have a calling from God, he's not done it. That to mean that God's telling you to do something, right? He's saying, hey, John, I got something I want you to do. Right? For example, go to this park bench and feed the people there, right? Now, I seem to recall John in the past trying to pretend that if he's asked to do something by God, his response is not what, but if God asks him to jump, John's response is how high, right? And that doesn't really seem like that's what John's doing now, does it? It seems like John's saying, like, you know, not how high. It seems like his response is something more like, nah, I'm good.
Without question and without fail. But something as simple as
I think you might be cutting out. The only thing I heard was without question, without fail.
oh yeah, sorry, I saw the red bar. But yeah, it depends on what God is asking him to do. Again, if it's doing something malicious to children, yes, no problem. I would be obedient to that without question and without fail. Because that actually too would be a calling, you know. But
Yeah, and
as
so
simple as this, no, I can't do that.
yeah, something like, hey, go to this park bench and like hand out some hard-boiled eggs. Would this like be in that category, Johnny?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. Okay. Fucking unbelievable, man. Like truly unbelievable. I don't know if you were here for the beginning of this room, but I kind of laid it all out. John is having like, you know, a person. The way I described it was there are multiple vectors of reality that are converging on John Lee like right now. And John is a person who likes to live not in reality, but fantasy, you know, rationalization, different, like all different kinds of like coping, you know. That's where John Lee likes to live. And so he's having a hard fucking time with it. You can imagine.
Well, I can't imagine, but if you recall, Tom, a little while back, when John Lee and I were still talking regularly, I think it was in your channel or something like that, but remember me saying something like, you know what, John, I think one of the best things that I would actually like to see happen to you is for you to hit the dirt or eat dirt or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this is actually coming to fruition, perhaps.
And yeah, well, it's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. I think you're right about that. However, the idea behind them hitting the dirt in that way is that you think that something is gonna come of it, right? Like a person might say, "Damn, you know, I was."
Oh, what do you mean talking about?
Damn,
You telling me to
like,
take
you know,
my
someone
back?
was right, you know. But I don't think John Lee like has the capacity for that.
I see what you're saying. I mean, it depends on how hard he has to hit the dirt. You know, how much of it he has to eat, I guess. But yes, based on his disposition, he seems to be averse to admitting where, you know, he has been wrong in the past. But not to say that I've never seen him do it. But secondly, though, Tom, one of the last rooms I did listen to, you were in, I think towards the end of the room, listen to the replay. And the way he treated you, I think, was disgusting. I mean, you
Really? Really? Okay.
Distributor or being the sole buyer of a new headset that he was utilizing for these rooms. And what did he do? He sent you down. Now, this is like, now look, I understand you may have some standards of how you want to run your room, but I would think if somebody does something very gracious to me, gives me buys me a brand new headset, I think that person, there's going to be some sort of an allotment or reservation for that person to extend some grace, maybe farther beyond what he would normally with just anybody on stage. And he did not do that whatsoever.
I wasn't even like really that out of line either. That's the thing.
What an asshole you are.
Absolutely.
Like that. I just wanted you to know that.
Thank you.
So in a sense, I'm apologizing on his behalf
Appreciate
because I
that.
thought it was disgusting.
Yeah, like somebody goes out of their way I'm just gonna pooch it.
And I was kicked simply for feeding the homeless. I mean, asking questions.
Yep. I mean, you talk about a smack in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, you enabled him to conduct and carry out his calling, Tom. You enabled him to do that
That's
by
right.
providing him a headset.
Yeah.
And this is how you were treated in return. Disgusting.
And just to be clear, it's not like I expected anything from that, you know. I mean, I actually knew that I would. I mean, John's not even probably going to thank me, right? It's not like I said, you know, you have to use it. Probably. Yeah. Seems like John is like. This is what I was telling Jack all the time. It seems like he is unwittingly, right, without any kind of intention, right, sort of debunked the calling myth, right?
Well, at least based on what he was saying that God said for him to do. And to add to that, I think the last time I listened to John, he was very concerned about his blood pressure, like 170 something or whatever, you know, very concerned about that. Well, wait a second. Why would you be concerned if you certainly believe God had said to you, lay off the medication, right?
Right.
Why would you be concerned about anything? Why would you be, like, checking your blood pressure? Why would you do that? So that is like, you know, of course I voiced my opinions on that. I said, John, I don't think God's talking to you at all. Well, I got sort of excoriated for that, but we now see it's the case that it doesn't look like God was telling him to do that whatsoever.
And it's like, I'm concerned about my blood pressure and the fact that, you know, whatever God wanted to be the outcome of not taking the blood pressure, like, would, like, obtain. You know, I'm worried that God's plan is going to come to fruition, you know. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Did you hear the clip that I played earlier of his pastor?
I did not.
So, John, last Sunday, the pastor says, if anybody would like prayer, you know, something, like, just raise your hand, let's do that now. And he specified primarily for healing. And from the audience, John raises his hand. And he asks for healing for what? Blood pressure. So the people around him lay their hands on him, makes a prayer. He says, John, dear Father, please heal John. By the way, he's already been healed, if you recall, right? He's already been healed. But we're going to do like another round of the healing, right? So why the fuck, if John has already been healed, Johnny, why the fuck is he asking to be healed for the thing that he's already been healed of?
Sounds like some doubt, doesn't it?
Well, the way this is what he tried to say is like, well, person can be cut and healed from a cut and then cut again. So it was like little just temporary, just like a few days healed. I mean, I would even contest it was a few days, right? But he was temporarily healed, and then I guess God afflicted him again, right?
Well, I mean, certainly, I would think if that's what I was concerned about, I would be like, God, I need some more information. When you said to, discontinued taking the medication. I mean, was there an expiration date to this sort of edict that you could set before me? I mean, we're taking it for what, 2 weeks, 2 months? Now, I would love to have had that information, but saying you could be cut again, or you could need another healing or something like that.
He was healed already. He was already healed.
Right. Exactly.
That
That would have been an opportunity
I'm not.
to say, you know what, I would stand up and say, you know what, a lot of people are always asking for healing. I'm here to tell you that I'm one of the examples of a person who has already been healed, right? That would have been nice. But no, he's still needing healing for something he thinks he had already been healed from. He's done a really good job of making Christianity sound goofy.
Yeah.
He's done well with that.
Oh, he's done exceptionally well.
Maybe that's his calling, because he's doing very well with that.
Guess what, Johnny? If an atheist wanted to try and debunk claims of healing, claims of a calling, and this type of thing, they would go about it the same way that John has. Okay, let's see if this healing shit works. Okay, like lay your hands on me. Yeah, do whatever you could. Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens. What? Oh, blood pressure's through the roof. There we go. Debunked, right? They would do it the same way that he's done it.
Sure, and remember this though, Tom. I don't know if you recall, but when he was having that debate or whatever with Pine Creek asked some sort of question of would you pray for someone, I don't know if it was his relative or whoever he made the example of. He said, but would you pray for someone who had their cancer healed? Do you remember what John said about that?
Yeah, I think he said no.
Hey,
I even know he would follow up with saying a statement about his sister.
If I have to say
even when his
negative
sister had
retail
cancer,
to try and
he
wake the
prayed.
people up, so be it.
Exactly. And here we are. Though John would not pray for someone else's healing, he is asking others to pray for him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's constant. If I sat down and thought about it, I could come up with a list of these things that would just sort of be thrown up in his face. But he's doing this to himself, of course. It's not anything that I'm trying to manipulate. This is why I get irritated, extremely irritated, with Christians who make other people say, this is why I want nothing to do with that, because this sounds just like too much goofy bullshit. I get it, and it irritates me. And John has been very good at that.
I am John.
But John has told multiple people that he's feeling down, Johnny. The explanation for why he is not doing his rooms is because he's feeling down. He's feeling down, Johnny. He's feeling a little melancholy, therefore he's not fulfilling the commands of God. What a joke!
I've certainly felt down before, but I don't think I've ever felt down about doing something that I believe was my calling to do, right?
Yeah.
Sounds a little strange.
I mean, I seem to recall having conversations with John where it's like, how could you? It's insane to even question, right, what God is telling you to do. To even question it would be absolutely fucking insane, right?
You have to say nigger, faggot, retard. Wake the people up, so be it. We're being bombarded with never-ending.
And now here he is. He's like, nah, I'm gonna play Zynga. What a fucking joke, man.
Hi, Tom, this is Kat. I think you're a joke, and you're projecting onto John Lee, who's a true disciple of Christ. And if he lets to play Zynga or barbecue or not take his high blood pressure medication, that's John's choice. He's a free man. And for you to come on here and roast him all morning long shows that you have nothing to do with your life. You have no focus, no attention, no concentration, and you're everything you're saying about him is actually just a reflection of yourself. you should go look in the mirror. Go get a good mirror and listen to what you said because replays are on. And then you'll know that what you're doing is pathetic. And you should probably go to the gym and read a book or something because this is a waste of time. Thank you for letting me speak, and I am complete. Have a good weekend, everybody, and God bless John Lee and all disciples of Christ, not these atheist faggots like Tom Rabbit. Have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.
But anyways, yeah,
I wasn't even a very good troll.
same guy from before, obviously. Yeah, just unbelievable. You know what, John's the type of person, Johnny, where if you asked him like, well, John, same guy from before. John tells you, he says, what's if you said to Johnny, what's going on? And he would say, I'm feeling a little down. I guarantee you, if you asked him, was like, well, why are you feeling down? He'd be like, I don't know. Because to actually like dissect those feelings and be like, I'm feeling like reality. I'm starting to realize other things are the way. I'm starting to realize I was wrong. I'm starting to realize this is a serious problem. All this that John's unable to do that, right? Can't do that.
Oh, it sounds a little too much like pride, right? You
Yep.
can't admit that.
It's pride fucking with you. I think it's cool the fact that like the camera detach, the screen detaches. This conversation, would probably be one of the most interesting to have with John to actually like talk about like, well, let's do a sort of debriefing. You know, what was real, what was not real, what was a trap, but John can't engage in that. You think John Lee can engage in that type of a conversation?
He might, but it would probably be something like, well, I thought I heard, or I don't.
Oh no, I don't think he can say that. I don't think he can say, because then it's just like, no, I think that's too catastrophic for like as far as implications and things.
So you think he would just simply double that down? Yes,
Yeah.
this is what God said to me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, just sort of like the same thing with like, I was healed, but then I was re-afflicted. That's the sort of like, he's got to save it. I was healed.
Or he might say something like, well, you know what, Lazarus was raised from the dead, but he didn't live forever, he eventually died again, so, same thing, maybe. It's hard to tell. I just think, I think there should at least come a time when you start to feel embarrassed about some of these positions that you've held. Do you think he is approaching that point? Or is he fighting it away?
I think he feels it, but like admitting it is like a totally different proposition. I mean, I think he knows a lot of this stuff, and as some of as John Lee might even say, in his heart of hearts, Frank knows it.
I'm guessing no room today?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
What? James, what happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
What
What happened to John?
We're having a eulogy. What happened?
His ministry is essentially over. His calling.
Yeah.
And so it's not a eulogy for John this calling.
Oh, but it's a eulogy for the content.
Yeah, this guy's one of the primary couriers of John's bullshit.
Yeah,
Bob?
this guy's a piece of
Bob.
trash.
I don't think he even has any idea what's going on, quite frankly.
Yeah, he never does. That's the problem.
Who don't?
You.
You.
Yeah, what about
I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass in Louisiana.
you? I think you're actually a crazy person, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'm not an asshole from.
Yeah, I'm just gonna remove you.
You're probably not an asshole, but you're
Did
not.
Bob encourage John to stop taking his meds too?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
shit.
Oh, yeah.
You said he encouraged John, told John was healed. John was in like massive hypertensive crisis, like routinely, like basically all the time.
Yeah. You know he's back in his meds now because he was like a ticking time bomb. So why the fuck would you encourage him?
This is dumbass.
Well, because he thinks what? He's bathed in the blood of Christ or something?
Yeah, some dumb shit.
Wow, that's really...
John could have died.
You know, the Lord helps those who help themselves.
This is
Think about that.
this is a great example of how bad religion can be to society.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is why I tell Johnny. I was like, he does this all unwittingly. An atheist would be hard pressed to do as much debunking and making of this like religion look bad than John. He makes it look just looks completely false. Looks like a complete joke. So John's back on his meds, Haiti?
Yeah. Thank God. Right,
I
Bob?
wonder how that happened.
I don't know. I've been gone a couple of weeks. I didn't know.
Yeah, whatever. You're a
Can you
dumbass.
just acknowledge that it's incredibly irresponsible of you to encourage him to go on his fucking heart medication? Can you just acknowledge that?
Well, he went pretty good a while without it.
Oh,
Didn't he?
it was good for a couple of weeks. Yeah, great.
Oh,
But his
well,
blood pressure
well,
shot up and he had to go back on his...
Well, look, I don't even grant that it was better for a period of time. He had no fucking reader.
The other reason is...
By his own mission, he doesn't even have a reader.
It's possible also it took a few weeks for the drugs to like get out of his system.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
You know, so
exactly.
yeah, maybe he was fine until the drugs were no longer doing their work. But yeah, anyway, I mean, so he wasn't testing himself because he
Yeah.
wasn't
This
well.
is completely bullshit.
But like as a Christian, I think you should be ashamed of yourself for like encouraging you to do that. Didn't you say God told you to get up his meds?
Probably some dumbass.
I never said such a thing.
Alright. Well, I think you might be. I don't think that's true. I think you did.
No, I never said God told me that he told John to get off.
I'm either thinking of someone else or it was you.
No, I told John if God told him to get off the meds, don't take them no more. That's what I told John.
Okay, maybe it was someone else. I'll give you.
Yeah, that's irresponsible too, though, because John, when John hears that, he doesn't hear the conditional part. He just hears what you're saying because that's what he wants to hear.
Do you actually think God told him?
Could be the case.
Do you think God told him to stop taking the heart medication?
He could have. God told me to rip John out of 2 Bibles.
God told you to do what now?
Rip John out of 2 Bibles.
I don't even know what that fucking means.
Rip John out of
Is he
Rip John out of 2 Bibles.
Do you know you're not even making sense?
I think he's referring to ripping the Gospels of John, maybe.
No, I just ripped them pages out between Luke and Acts.
I'm sorry, you tore
like a
pages
crazy
out?
person.
Okay, this is, yes.
More than that.
Huh?
You tore the pages out?
need to tear the pennies up.
Okay. Okay, bro. Go take meds. Push yourself.
Why would I need to take meds?
Let's see if I can get this fucking guy. This fucking idiot. No, dude.
Oh, you're
Go
right.
from room. Goodbye. Fucking idiot. Like Johnny, like if I were a Christian, I'd just like shake my head. I was like, God damn, like, dude, come on, dude, this is a team sport here. Like, come on, let's get our shit together, guys. Let's not be fucking idiots, right?
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth. So I'm ready to say I'm sick. Shaking my head, right? That's all I'm doing.
Johnny,
Yeah.
if a friend of yours said, go tell me to start taking my heart medication, what would you respond to that?
I'd find new friends.
Well, or maybe you would try and talk them out of it, but then I guess ultimately you would find them. Yeah.
Here, I'll play this for you, Johnny. This is from this Sunday, so like 5 days ago. And remember, John has already said that it's his belief that he has been healed of his blood pressure condition.
Guys, we've got a lot of things that we can pray about, but I also want to know just real quick here in the room, is there anything that you guys need prayer for? Because we're gonna pray for people this morning. Primarily healing, but yeah, if you have something else. Yeah, John. Your blood pressure. Okay, we're gonna pray. We're gonna pray. We serve a big God. We serve a powerful God. And I believe that we are walking in alignment with His Spirit. I do. And therefore we get to pray over these things. So I'll tell you what, if you're near one of the people that just raised their hands or talk, would you just flock to them real quick? Let's lay hands on them. We believe in this. We lay hands on people around here. Father, I pray over John that you would be with his blood pressure, that you would heal him in the name of Jesus. You are the great physician. You're the one who designed his heart in the first place. Now I pray that you would bring it into alignment with the way that you created it.
Seems a little odd, doesn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, that's an understatement. Again, but what I pointed out, I don't think Katie was in the room at the time that I pointed this out, but I was saying to Tom earlier, when he had that conversation with Pine Creek, and Pine Creek asked him, someone asked you to pray for my loved one, your loved one's cancer to be healed, would you do it? And I said, no, I would not do that. Okay, and now he is here. No, he wouldn't pray for someone else's healing. He is now asking for someone to give prayers of healing for him. This is the type of stuff that he just sticks his foot in his mouth, of course, but this is the type of stuff he will never get over. There's too many things to just contradict what he said over and over and over. And this is just going to be another one. The God told him to get off his meds. The God told him his mom's a lady. The God told him this and that. And with his mom clown, you got him who's sort of encouraging this stuff, all the while saying that God told him to read pages from the Bible. These are the people that I cringe listening to. I can understand why atheists are like, explain to me again why I would want to be that, or I'd want to have what you have. Please tell me again why. What's appealing about this? It's like,
Yeah, this is just like, it's like a suicidal cult. It's never stopped taking meds. I mean, we all know the outcome. The outcome is you drop dead. So, why would anyone think that was a good thing? I think I think he is in a sort of midlife crisis. That he's in a sort of religious mania situation. That's why he's getting, he's feeling like he's getting all these messages to this, that, and the other. Stop taking his meds, stop being on Medicaid, feed the homeless,
No!
This is all just psychologically.
Haiti, when we were talking earlier, you had the funniest line where Haiti was talking about the way John normally operates and the way that the shelter is different. And the phrase she used, the way the shelter operates is reality based.
Medicaid and just like sign you up for all this stuff. And John just wants to live in this fantasy world where he's like a retired businessman, you know. And he's only here to do like research. And they're just like, you're actually indigent. You know, and the sad thing is they want to help him. They really do. Like, I mean, they're good people. You know, but I think he's going to resent the hell out of them for that.
Well, why did he even go to a homeless shelter? I mean, wasn't it not long ago that he went down to whatever government agency and says, I don't need these statues anymore. I don't need any of this stuff. So he throws that over the hill, and then he goes checking in for a homeless shelter.
Well, I think because sleeping in your car is like awful, right? And
It's not good for the back.
yeah, and I think he just on some level realized that, like, you know, and I think eventually he will get arrested. It's not, you're not allowed to just park on like a residential street in your car, you know. So and he didn't have anywhere to keep his stuff and all that stuff going on. Because he was, at first I think he was happy in the shelter because he had a sort of home base and he could store things. But I think what's happening now is that he's sort of chafing at the rules, right? And they're attempting, you know how when we try and help him, he gets really irritated?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, it's going to be the same thing there. They want to help him, they want to get him back on his feet.
Yeah,
want
and
to get him a
you
job.
can't run away. You can't just hit the disconnect button.
You can't like kick people out of the room. You know, they like God bless them, like they want to get him like probably like some kind of government housing. They want to get him a job. They want to, you know, make sure he's like somewhat back to, you know, normal.
Yeah, I mean, they know where you live, right? They can just walk up to your fucking door.
Be like, okay, John, here's a job applications. We're gonna fill them out together.
Yep. Like, they come to your room and she sits on your fucking bunk, you know, like with your clipboard, and like, where are you gonna go? Like, oh, I'm too busy. Like, motherfucker, I see what you're doing, dude.
And it's and he comes.
He did apply for a job at Target.
You know that's because they made it, right? Because I actually think I know what shelter this is, and their whole thing is it's like a sort of holistic approach. It's not just giving them that, right? They get social workers involved, they get like medical people involved, they get like mental health people involved, and their goal is to get you back on your feet, which is absolutely laudable, right? There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I bet they say, okay, Brad, well you have recent experience, so hey, let's get you a job at Target, right? No problem. I think that maybe they'll take you, and then you can start looking, and then we'll get you a place, and then you can start like standing on your feet. You know, it'd be great. John's just like,
Oh my god.
seething.
Yeah. It's like he's in his mind. He's like, well, I mean, if my job at Target, you're talking about CEO position, because I become CEO material. I didn't know they had an opening for CEO at Target, you know?
Yeah, he's seething. Because he's probably like, look, I'm not like these other people. I'm not crazy. I'm not ridiculous. I'm like actually pretty outstanding guy. They're like, great! Then we could get you a job at Target! And he's like, oh, fuck. I didn't want that.
You know, I'm curious though. I wonder how John would respond. Let's say someone else. Let's say John was homeless, and that person said, you know what? Last night, God spoke to me, and I had high blood pressure, you know, all these blood pressure medication pills and whatever. God said to me to come off of my blood pressure pills. What do you think John would say to that? How do you think he would respond? I'd also be curious how he would respond if Bob told him, God told me to rip my pages out of my Bible. I wonder how John would respond to that.
I don't know. Probably think they were an idiot. I mean, I feel like there's two Johns. There's like regular John who just like lives in the world and is a bit of a scammer, but he's sort of shrewd in some ways. And then there's like religious mania, John. You know. So I don't know. Probably wouldn't really respect it.
Well, I think he's in a position now where I don't believe he can say anything. I mean, if he holds the position that, God told me to get off my medication and now I'm having all sorts of problems, how would he be able to tell someone else, no, don't do it? How would he do that?
Probably wouldn't, but also he's so detached from it's like if people care enough to say anything about it, you know? They'd just be like, well, listen, people do it, it's fine. Like, I've never heard of him being like too really like going down a bad path. I think he should stop. God can I help? He never does it. He's not capable of that, I don't think. So I think his response would just be to lose.
The shelter sucks is because John can't hit the disconnect. When the coordinator, occupational coordinator, whatever the fuck title comes to his room with the clipboard, he can't hit the disconnect button. He can't set her down. He can't block her. He can't do anything.
I can see why you're finding it easier to
Brush
cheer
her
up the
off,
people up.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't work. She's like, John, okay, we need to get you a job. Thank you for your opinion. Like, but she's like, continues talking about it. It's like, wait, this usually works, right? I say thank you for the opinion, and then it's over, right? That's my strategy. And how come that's not working, right? So he's depressed because he's trapped there, and they are, as Andy was saying, reality-based, right? It's gotta be hell. Absolutely fucking hell for him.
On top of all the other sort of rules that he has to abide by, it's not, he doesn't care if he hears all this sort of thing. He's like, he's never, he's spent his entire life avoiding other people's rules. It's like he never had a job. He always had to be self-employed. Even though he probably could have done it right, just like got some sort of profession and just done it. He can't do it. He can't just be like, okay, that's the rule, I'll just follow it, because he thinks he's above the rules.
That he can't even feed the poor without getting involved with the cops. I mean, he was arrested. So, yeah, him obeying the rules is very good. He can't even feed the poor without
Seven.
violating.
Yeah, the rules.
The Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desires for itself, thus it is present for all beings. The Master stays behind, that is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things, that is why she is one of them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. 8. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. 9. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. 10. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing. Having without possessing. Acting with no expectations. Leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. 11. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. 12. Colors blind the eye. Sounds deafen the ear. Flavors numb the taste. Thoughts weaken the mind. Desires wither the heart. The master observes the world, but trusts his inner